Welcome back to Albert's adventure. Albert was barreling through his adventure and made some major progress. Albert farmed up a frozen key which gave him access to the Staff of the Frost Hydra, a powerful sentry. Then Albert took down Plantera, allowing new dungeon enemies to spawn, which dropped the Morning Star. And finally, Plantera dropped the Pygmy Staff. Before Albert could move on to the next stage of his adventure, he had to revisit an old foe. The Old One's army had returned and was stronger than the first time. After a tense battle, the Old One's army had been defeated. Using his newly acquired Defender medals, Albert purchased the Ballista Cane. This iteration of the Old One's army wasn't really that difficult for Albert, but he still needed to defeat them a few more times to buy all the sentries. Albert purchased the Monk's armor and the Lightning Aura Cane. The monk's armor would give Albert the ability to summon more sentries and deal more damage, effectively speeding up his time to defeat the Old One's army. Now only 2 sentries remained. Finally, Albert purchased the explosive trap cane and the flame burst cane. With the purchase of the last 2 sentries, Albert had finished up Tier 2 of the Old One's army. He had made a hefty chunk of progress on his list up to this point. Now Albert looked to face another army, but this one was much spookier. Crafting a pumpkin medallion, Albert was ready to face the Pumpkin Moon. Albert was looking to slay 2 bosses, Pumpkin and Morningwood. These 2 held some powerful gear upgrades and a few weapons on Albert's list. The Pumpkin would be the most difficult. He held the Raven Staff and the Dark Harvest Whip. Morningwood would be the easiest of the 2. He held Spooky Wood, which Albert could use to make new armor, and a Necrotic Scroll, which by itself was useful, but could also be combined with other accessories for even more damage. After a valiant battle, Albert had fallen, marking the end to his first Pumpkin Moon. He headed back to collect all of his loot. Although he had received a bunch of items, Albert had only managed to find a single scroll and half of the wood he needed. Using the scroll and the Hercules beetle, Albert crafted a papyrus scarab, giving him 15% more damage and an extra summon. Albert knew he would have to defeat many more Pumpkin Moons to get the items he was after, so he made some adjustments to the arena so he would have an easier time during battle. Albert stood ready to take on another Pumpkin Moon. He was going to keep battling them until he got his weapons, but he was not prepared for what happened next. Unfortunately, that's a story for another time. I better get going now. I'll see you later.